Letter 37, an empty china cup. It is no wonder that children, no matter how old and experienced their souls, have to be retaught in each life the relative values of all things according to the artificial standards of the world. For out here, those values lose their meaning. That a soul had houses, lands, and honors among men does not increase his value in our eyes. We cannot hope to profit by his discarded riches. The soul in the hereafter builds its own house, and the materials thereof are free as air. If I use the house which another has built, I miss the enjoyment of creating my own. There is nothing worth stealing out here, so no one trembles for fear of burglars in the night. Even bores can be escaped by retiring to the very center of oneself, for a bore is himself too self-centered ever to pierce to the center of anyone else. On earth you value titles, inherited or acquired. Here a man's name is not of much importance even to himself, and a visiting card would be lost through the cracks in the floor of heaven. No footman angel would ever deliver it to his lord and master. One day I met a lady recently arrived. She had not been here long enough to have lost her assurance of superiority over ordinary men and angels. That morning I had on my best Roman toga, for I had been reliving the past. And the lady, mistaking me for Caesar or some other ancient aristocrat, asked me to direct her to a place where gentle women congregated. I was forced to admit that I did not know of any such resort. But as the visitor seemed lonely and bewildered, I invited her to rest beside me for a time, and to question me if she wished. I have been here several months, I said, and have gained considerable experience. It was plain to see that she was puzzled by my remark. She glanced at my classical garment, and I could feel her thinking that there was something incongruous between it and my assertion that I had been here only a few months.
Perhaps you are an actor,
she said. We are all actors here, I replied. This seemed to puzzle her more than ever, and she said that she did not understand. Poor lady. I felt sorry for her, and I tried my best to explain to her the conditions under which we live. You must know in the first place, I said, that this is the land of realized ideals. Now a man who has always desired to be a king can play the part up here if he wishes to, and no one will laugh at him. For each spirit has some favorite dream which he acts out to his own satisfaction. We have, madam, I continued, reacquired the tolerance and the courtesy of children who never ridicule one another's play.
Is heaven merely a playroom?
She asked in a shocked tone. Not at all, I answered, but you are not in heaven. Her look of apprehension caused me immediately to add, nor are you in hell either. What was your religion upon the earth?
Why, I professed the usual religion of my country and station, but I never gave it much thought.
Perhaps the idea of purgatory is not unfamiliar to you.
I am not a papist,
she said, with some warmth. Nevertheless, a papist in your position would conceive himself to be in purgatory.
I am certainly not happy,
she admitted.
Because everything is so strange.
Have you no friends here? I inquired.
I must have many acquaintances,
she said.
But I never cared for intimate friendships. I used to entertain a good deal. My husband's political position demanded it.
Perhaps there is someone on this side to whom you were specially kind at some time or other, someone whose grief you helped to bear, whose poverty you eased.
I patronized our organized charities.
I fear that sort of help is too impersonal to be remembered here. Have you no children?
No.
No brothers or sisters on this side?
I quarreled with my only brother for marrying beneath him.
But surely, I said, you must have had a mother. Was she not waiting for you when you came over?
No.
This surprised me, for I had been told that all mother spirits who have not gone back to the world know by a peculiar thrill when a child to which they have given birth is about to be reborn into the spiritual world. A sort of sympathetic after-pain. The final and sweetest reward of motherhood. Then she must have reincarnated, I said.
Do you hold to that pagan belief?
The lady inquired with just a touch of superiority.
I thought that only queer people theosophists and such, believed in reincarnation.
I was always queer, I admitted. But you know, of course, dear madam, that about 3/4 of the Earth's inhabitants are familiar with that theory in some form or other. We continued our talk for a little time, and meanwhile I was puzzling my heart as to what I could do to help this poor lonely woman, for whom no one was waiting. I passed in mental review this and that ministering angel of my acquaintance, and wondered which of them would be considered most correct from the conventional earthly point of view. The noblest of them was usually at the side of some newly arrived unfortunate woman, to use a euphemism of that polite society, which my latest protégé had frequented. The others were here, there, and everywhere, but generally with those souls who needed them most, while the need of my present companion was more real than urgent. If Lionel had been here, he might have entertained her for a while. I wished that I had cultivated the acquaintance of some of those ladies who crochet and gossip in this world as they crocheted and gossiped in yours. Do not be shocked. Did you fancy that a lifelong habit could be laid aside in a moment? As women on earth dream often of their knitting, so they do here. It is as easy to knit in this world as it is to dream in yours. Understand that the world in which I now live is no more essentially sacred than is the world in which you live, nor is it any more mysterious to those who dwell in it. To the serious soul, all conditions are sacred, except those that are profane, and both are found out here as well as on the earth. But to return to the lonely woman. I was still wondering what I should do with her when, looking up, I saw the teacher approaching. He had with him another woman, as like the first as one empty china cup is like another empty china cup. Then he and I went away and left the two together. I did not know, I said to the teacher, that you troubled yourself with any souls but those of considerable development. He smiled.
It was your perplexity which I came to relieve, not that of those poor ladies.
Then he began to talk to me about relative values.
In a sense,
he said,
do not think that I am indifferent to the sufferings of the weakest ones, because I give my time and attention to the strong. Like the ministering angels, I go where I am most needed. Only the strong ones can learn what I have to teach. The weak ones are the charges of the messiahs and their followers. But, nevertheless, between us and the messiahs, there is brotherhood, and there is mutual understanding. Each works in his own field. The messiahs help the many, we help the few. Their reward in love is greater than ours, but we do not work for reward any more than they do. Each follows the law of his being. To be loved by all men, a teacher must be known to all men, and we reveal ourselves only to a few chosen ones. Why do we not go the way of the messiahs? Because the balance must be maintained. For every great worker in the sight of men, there is another worker out of sight. Which kind of teacher is of greater value? The question is out of order. The north and the south are interdependent, and there are two poles to every magnet.
Letter 38, where time is not. I think you now understand from what I have said that not all the souls who have passed the airy frontier are either in heaven or hell. Few reach an extreme, and most live out their allotted period here as they lived out their allotted period on earth, without realizing either the possibilities or the significance of their condition. Wisdom is a tree of slow growth. The rings around its trunk are earthly lives, and the grooves between are the periods between the lives. Who grieves that an acorn is slow in becoming an oak? It is equally unphilosophical to feel that the truth which I have endeavored to make you understand, the truth of the soul's great leisure, is necessarily sad. If a man were to become an archangel in a few years' time, he would suffer terribly from growing pains. The law is implacable, but it often seems to be kind. Nevertheless, there are many souls in heaven, and there are many heavens, of which I have seen a few. But do not fancy that most people go from place to place, and from state to state, as I do. The things which I describe to you are not exceptional, but that one man should be able to see and describe so many things is exceptional indeed. I owe it largely to the teacher. Without his guidance, I could not have acquired so rich an experience. Yes, there are many heavens. Last night I felt the yearning for beauty which sometimes came to me on earth. One of the strangest phenomena of this ethereal world is the tremendous attraction by sympathy. The attraction of events, I mean. Desire a thing intensely enough, and you are on the way to it. A body of a feather's weight moves swiftly when propelled by a free will. I felt a yearning for beauty, which is a synonym for heaven. Did I really move from my place? Or did heaven come to me? I cannot say. Space means so little here. For every veil without, there is a veil within. We desire a place, and we are there. Perhaps the teacher could give you a scientific explanation of this, but I cannot at the moment. And then, I want to tell you about that heaven where I was last night. It was so beautiful that the charm of it is over me still. I saw a double row of dark-topped trees, like cypresses, and at the end of this long avenue, down which I passed, was a softly diffused light. Somewhere I have read of a heaven lighted by 1,000 suns, but my heaven was not like that. The light as I approached it was softer than moonlight, though clearer. Perhaps the light of the sun would shine as softly if seen through many veils of alabaster. Yet this light seemed to come from nowhere. It simply was. As I approached, I saw two beings walking towards me, hand in hand. There was such a look of happiness on their faces as one never sees on the faces of earth. Only a spirit unconscious of time could look like that. I should say that these two were man and woman, save that they seemed so different from what you understand by man and woman. They did not even look at each other as they walked. The touch of the hand seemed to make them so much one that the realization of the eye could have added nothing to their content. Like the light which came from nowhere, they simply were. A little farther on, I saw a group of bright-robed children dancing among flowers. Hand in hand in a ring they danced, and their garments, which were like the petals of flowers, moved with the rhythm of their dancing limbs. A great joy filled my heart. They too were unconscious of time, and might have been dancing there from eternity, for all I knew. But whether their gladness was of the moment or of the ages had no significance for me or for them. Like the light, and like the lovers who had passed me hand in hand, they were, and that was enough. I had left the avenue of cypresses and stood in a wide plain, encircled by a forest of blossoming trees. The odors of spring were on the air, and birds sang. In the center of the plain, a great circular fountain played with the waters, tossing them in the air whence they descended in feathery spray. An atmosphere of inexpressible charm was over everything. Here and there, in this circular flower-scented heaven, walked angelic beings, many or most of whom must some time have been human. 2 by 2, they walked, or in groups, smiling to themselves or at one another. On earth, you often use the word peace, but compared with the peace of that place, the greatest peace of earth is only turmoil. I realized that I was in one of the fairest heavens, but that I was alone there. No sooner had this thought of solitude found lodgment in my heart than I saw standing before me the beautiful being about whom I wrote you a little time ago. It smiled and said to me,
"He who is sadly conscious of his solitude is no longer in heaven. So I have come to hold you here yet a little while."
"Is this the particular heaven where you dwell?" I asked.
"Oh, I dwell nowhere and everywhere,"
the beautiful being answered.
"I am one of the voluntary wanderers who find the charm of home in every heavenly or earthly place."
"So you sometimes visit Earth?"
"Yes, even the remotest hells I go to, but I never stay there long. My purpose is to know all things and yet to remain unattached."
"And do you love the Earth?"
"The earth is one of my playgrounds. I sing to the children of earth sometimes, and when I sing to the poets, they believe that their muse is with them. Here is a song which I sang one night to a soul which dwells among men. My sister, I am often with you when you realize it not. For me, a poet's soul is a well of water, in whose deeps I can see myself reflected. I live in a glamour of light and color which you mortal poets vainly try to express in magic words. I am in the sunset and in the star. I watched the moon grow old and you grow young. In childhood you sought for me in the swiftly moving cloud. In maturity you fancied you had caught me in the gleam of a lover's eye, but I am the eluder of men. I beckon and I fly, and the touch of my feet does not press down the heads of the blossoming daisies. You can find me and lose me again, for mortal cannot hold me. I am nearest to those who seek beauty, whether in thought or in form. I fly from those who seek to imprison me. You can come each day to the region where I dwell. Sometimes you will meet me, sometimes not, for my will is the wind's will, and I answer no beckoning finger. But when I beckon, the souls come flying from the four corners of heaven. Your soul comes flying too, for you are one of those I have called by the spell of my magic. I have use for you, and you have meaning for me. I like to see your soul in its hours of dream and ecstasy. Whenever one of my own dreams, a dream of paradise, the light grows brighter for me, to whom all things are bright. Oh, forget not the charm of the moment, forget not the lure of the mood. For the mood is wiser than all the magi of earth, and the treasures of the moment are richer and rarer than the hoarded wealth of the ages. The moment is real, while the age is only a delusion, a memory, and a shadow. Be sure that each moment is all, and the moment is more than time. Time carries an hourglass, and his step is slow, his hair is white with the rime of years, and his scythe is dull with unwearied mowing. But he never yet has caught the moment in its flight. He has grown old in casting nets for it. The magic of life and of the endless combination of living things. I was young when the sun was formed, and I shall be young when the moon falls, dead in the arms of her daughter the earth. Will you not be young with me? The dust is as nothing, the soul is all. Like a crescent moon on the surface of a lake of water is the moment of love's awakening. Like a faded flower in the lap of the tired world is the moment of love's death. But there is love, and the love of the light for its radiance is the love of souls for each other. There is no death where the inner light shines, irradiating the fields of the within, the beyond, the unattainable attainment. You know where to find me.